सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Yesterday we saw Pratibodha viditam matam amrutatvam hi vindate. So that sentence from the mantra can be roughly translated as, it is not what we do but how we do what we do makes it spiritual. The intensity with which we can observe, be aware and not get carried away by the various phases of our expression with the interaction with the world outside. If these two be taken care of, that I am consciously interacting with every aspect of my living, if that much be focused, then I think we are getting closer to what this mantra is trying to highlight. Pratibodha viditam matam. Bodham bodham prati. Yat yat viditam. It is every cognition of thought, word, deed, starting from the thought. Are we at the standpoint of thought, word and deed, or are we at the standpoint of the conscious principle witnessing these happenings happening in front of them? That is a shift that one has to gather, and when we have gathered that, probably then we can call that as true initiation into spirituality. That shift has to occur. Presently, things happening from the externalities seem to be too close to our heart that it is overwhelming. But the idea is to withdraw and observe it happening around. Probably the fear that would come is, if I withdraw, would I be able to participate the same way as I was participating earlier? Will I be able to fulfill my responsibilities? This is one direction. The other direction of it is, since the scriptures have very clearly said withdraw, I am withdrawing. And there are people who can mix up lots of chunks of scriptures and make their own conviction. Similar to Arjuna's convictions in the first chapter. Scriptures have asked us to withdraw. Scriptures have also said that he will take care. If that be the spirit, it once happened to us while studying Mandukya Upanishad. Mandukya Upanishad is such a intense text, very logical, very intense text, and we had just gone through the first mantra or the second mantra, and it has very little mantras too. So we were in the second mantra, and the mantra very clearly logically proved how everything that we interact is just a projection. So by the time we had come to Mandukya Upanishad, the other classes we had finished it. So it was morning, afternoon, evening, it was Mandukya, Mandukya, Mandukya. Pretty intense. And it was almost 6-7 days into the second shloka, second mantra of Mandukya Upanishad. And everybody started withdrawing from all kinds of services that we had to offer, whether it was in the bookstall or in the temple or in the audio video section, various responsibilities given. I said, Jagan Mithya. The entire world is nothing but Mithya. So for morning class, as soon as the morning class finished, see the satsang hall called satsang hall at the ashram, Saraswati Nilaya, is next to the Annakshetra, the kitchen and dining area. So it was our habit that as soon as the class was done, we would sincerely walk to the next room there, the dining room, and we will have our breakfast. And it was locked. So some of us enthusiastically went and called the chef cook, and he said, go and talk to your Acharya. So we all went and in line, we were asked to come here. I said, no, I didn't ask you to. No, actually we went to the kitchen and the kitchen was closed. He said he will not open it and he has asked us to come here. Oh, that. He just very casually mentioned, that is also Mithya. The kitchen area is also Mithya, as is your other responsibilities. And that straightened us out for the rest of the Mandukya Upanishad. The scriptures have to be understood in its complete essence, comprehensive essence, not just pick parts here and there. To make this point more clear, scripture uses an unusual style. This is not the style of the usual scripture. Narrating stories is not a part of their work. But there are many students who are like the intense second chapter, probably were left perplexed, like what exactly do you want to mean? So there is a story given, and I gave you the premise of that story yesterday, that the Asuras and Devas always had constant battle. They would constantly be eager to pull each other down. This was their constant effort. And because of that effort, the place that the Devas had was many times conquered by the Asuras. And one such time, the Devas were chased away from their living quarters. The entire Swarga was emptied out. All the Devas had to run here and there. After having saved their own lives, they invoked Paramatma. O Lord, without you nothing. It is similar. When do we remember God? As Kabir Das ji puts it, Dukh mein sumiran sab kare, sukh mein kare na koi. When we are in overwhelming situations, the first thing we think of is God. But when things are all settled and pleasant around us, then if somebody says God, they say, who? What is God? We become very callous in our nature. And gods are known for that. Those Indradi, so they prayed, it was our fault, we forgot, and oh God, please help us. But the good part of these devas is that whenever they are in their totally shattered moments, the good part is they remember God. Asuras are those who even would not remember God or turn towards Him. So all these gods turned towards Paramatma, and Paramatma helped them, came along with them. All the Daityas were defeated. The entire Swarga was back in their own fold. Now they all settled in their offices. That is where I find it a little funny, is the office of Yama. His residence is in Swarga, but his office is in the threshold of Naraka. A poor guy has to travel up and down daily, a commute, especially when you have to go to downtown area, rush hour time. Probably his Yamaha has some kind of a toll tag. All these devas had settled down. So they thought it calls for a celebration party. So all of them assembled. Indra threw a beautiful party of all his comrades who were there. They were all invited. And as the party picked its flavor up, each one of them started boasting about themselves. If I were not there in this war, we would have lost again. Everybody started claiming tall stories. So now Paramatma, he looked at them, he said, when will these people really change, benefit? So he finally takes a form, and that form is of a Yakshavatara. So that Yaksha has come to that party premises. Probably the entire Swarga, there were the lawns of Swarga, and that the gates of that Swarga was this Yaksha standing majestically and staring at these devas. Now when somebody is staring at you, there is some kind of inquisitiveness born. I told you the reason as to various stages of inquisitiveness. So what happened in that at that threshold? So the first mantra of the third chapter of Kenopanishad. Brahma devebhyo vijigye tasyah brahmano vijaye deva amahiyanta ta ekshanta asmakamevayam vijayah asmakamevayam mahima iti. So it is said that Paramatma, Brahman, got a victory for the Devas over the Asuras. Brahma devebhyo vijigye. And Devaha amahiyanta. The Devas had a victory. But then, though the victory was of Brahman, because he supported and he helped, what happened with these Devas? They were so elated and they were, in their own small little groups, they had started boasting about themselves. So what were they boasting? Asmakam eva ayam vijayah. This victory is actually because of me. We Devas had really fought well. Of all the devas, if it were anything, it was my effort. I tell you, if you were there in that battlefield, you would have run away. If not for me, today's day we would have not seen. It was such a fierce battle. And then he says, Asmakam eva ayam mahima iti. If it is anybody's greatness, it is our greatness only. So each one started boasting that this victory was something that they had owned. It was their victory. So as they were discussing with their own pride and ego, so what happened? Brahman was observing it. So what did that Brahman do? Tadvaisham vijagnyau tebhyoha pradurbabhuva tannavyajanata kimidam yakshamiti. So as they were soaked in their pride and ego, were boasting about their efforts, Brahman appeared there at their threshold in the form of Yaksha. Now everybody started, they stopped boasting about themselves, they all looked at each other, and all these prominent devas, they gathered together. Do you know who that guy is? So all the devas assembled said, no, I did not invite him. Party crasher. We have heard of this of late a lot on a national scenario. Gate crashers. So you are literally gate crashing there. So all the devas now had decided, okay, he is not our guest. Let's ask Indra if he had invited him. But if he had invited, who is this special one? We have never come across, we have never met him. Who could this be? All these devas assembled again with Indra. Hey Indra, do you know who he is? I said, actually I am also wondering. I was thinking one of you had invited him along with you. And it happens sometimes you have your best friend some party or something, and you have your own guests or parents or brother, sister, someone, and the party is something that you cannot avoid. You cannot leave your family here or the relatives here. So you say, do what? Let's tag along. We had sent an RSVP for 2, but 5 is adjustable, I think. Tag along. So I thought one of you had brought in your special guests, which is okay with me, but who brought him? Who is he? He looks really bright. He looks really very promising. I would like to have an introduction, said Indra. But all the devas looked at Indra and said, we thought you had invited him. You are asking us? We thought you were the first one to bring him in here. So Indra is like, he looked and he said, yeah, there are those first in command S-mans. So probably one of his S-man was Agni. He said, Agni, go check him out. Who is he? None of us have invited. He is not our guest. He is not invited by any one of us. How could somebody just crash in? So what did Agni do? So they said in the third mantra, Te Agnim Abruvan Jata Veda Etad Vijanihi Kimetad Yakshamiti Tatheti. Te Sarvaha Devaha, all the gods who were sitting there, Abruvan. Agnim Abruvan. Turned towards Agni and I said, can you check him out? Who exactly is this fellow? Jataveda etad vijanihi. Hey Jataveda. Jataveda, the alias name for Agni. Go check him out. As soon as the instruction was given to Lord Agni, he said, Tatheti. Tatha iti. He said, okay, will do. Like, when there is a chain of command, and when a senior officer commands, the junior officer has to respond. I guess what they do in this country is, aye, sir. Yes, sir. So Agni, nodded and took leave and quickly ran down to the threshold of Swarga to find who this brilliantly looking Yaksha is. And you know what, there is a status difference also. These are all devas. Yakshas are of a lower cadre. They were not even invited into this. How could such Yaksha come here? And how can he look more brilliant, more glowing than the other gods here? Must have gone to India. Indian advertisements are full of fair and lovely. So the Yaksha must have gone to that. He was looking really brilliant. So to that Yaksha, Agni goes. So he runs and reaches in front of the Yaksha. Tadabhyadravata tamabhyavadata kositi agnirva ahamasmi iti abravit jatavedava ahamasmiti. Tat abhyadravata. Abhyadravata ran fast. Agni ran fast to that Yaksha. And as soon as he reached, whose right or authority is it to inquire? It should have been the turn of Agni to inquire as to who is this Yaksha, where the tables are turned. By the time he reaches there, Yaksha very calm, standing there, he says, who are you? If somebody comes to your door, knocks on your door, and then you open the door, and the person who has knocked the door says, who are you? What would be your reaction? What do you mean by who are you? You tell me who you are. It happens in many times with phone calls. They call. And when they call and you pick the phone up and say, the first question they ask, who are you? I say, how does it matter? You tell me who you are first. Now Agni has gone there running, and this Yaksha with authority, such authority asks, who are you? Now Agni wanted to react, but the authority with which this Yaksha was standing there and he was commanding that respect, that instead of reacting, he just obliged meekly. He said, you don't know me? So abhyavadata, kositi, who you are? So Agni said, I am the famous Agni. I am also known as Jataveda. And Jataveda, the one who is all pervading. Literal translation. when he says, I am also known as Jataveda, don't you know me? So look at the audacity of that Yaksha. He has come to their threshold, and instead of giving his introduction, he's interrogating Agni. Who are you? He says, I am Agni Baba. Don't you know me? When somebody is really world famous, somebody is really world famous in Dallas, and you come across them, you don't even recognize their presence. It happened once to me, a long time ago. So from Vijayawada, I had to go to a nearby suburb, around 60-70 kilometers away, for a 1-week Yagna, Gita Jnana Yagna. So I got down off of the bus. So there were people with flower garland, and there were 5-6 people standing there. So they looked at me, and then immediately turned their eyes, and they were still looking at the bus. So I was also standing there for somebody to recognize me and pick me up. So I stood there. So as the bus was about to move, one of them took courage and said, where is your Guruji? I said, whom are you waiting for? Just to be sure, okay. So whom are you waiting for? He said, such and such Brahmachari Uddhav Chaitanya. I said, that is me. I still remember till date the way they looked at me. You are going to speak to us? I probably must have been 19, 20 years old. And they looked at me. So you really feel little shaken up. So this poor Agni was shaken up from within. The way he even questioned him. I am such famous man, don't you know me? I am Agni, I am Jataveda. Audacity of Yaksha. What does he say? He does not even acknowledge his name. He does not even acknowledge his knowing him. But instead he says in the next mantra, Tasmin Tvayi Kim Viryam Ityapi Idam Sarvam Daheyam Prithivyamiti. So he says, I am Agni, the great Jataveda. Don't you know me? He says, so what? It's like slap in the face. He says, if you are Agni or whatever you are, so what? What is your greatness anyway? What do you do? Tasmin Tvayi Kim Viryam. What is your strength? You come into our gates, you ask me my name, my details as if you didn't know me, and now you ask me that what is my greatness or what is my strength? What do you think of me? If I wish, I can burn anything in this earth. How clever also, okay, Agni. I can burn anything here, he doesn't say. He says, Pruthivyam yadidam daheyam. Whatever is that earth, I can burn it all. And you should imagine, this Yaksha is least impressed. And when somebody claims that I can burn the entire earth down to ashes, really? Even there is a surprise, some kind of a response. Yaksha is like, I don't think so. Look at you. You burning earth. Are you serious? So what does this Yaksha do? Off the lawn that they were standing on, Yaksha pulled out a blade of grass. Remember, even in the Ramayana story, we have Sita ji, instead of responding to Ravana, she just pulls a blade of grass and puts it in between her and Ravana. There are so many speakers who are interpreting it in various ways. It's left for interpretation. The best that I like is, you know what, you and your threats are not even worth to me like a blade of grass. Worthless, go. So when he is claiming that he can burn the entire earth, he pulls a blade of grass. And there must be some kind of a, wall or some kind of a raised thing. He puts it there. And you're talking about that? Let me try here. Try this. So this Yaksha says in the sixth mantra, Tasmai Trinam Nidadhau Etaddaheti. Now this Yaksha put that blade of grass there and he said, you are claiming too many things, okay? You say you are Agni Jata Veda, to burn the entire earth. Let me try this. Burn first this one. हिंदी में तो बढ़िया होता है, तेरी औकात पता चल जाएगा, पहले इसको जला के दिखा. And Jata Veda was like, getting really angry. So what happened next? Tadupapreyaya sarvajavena tanna shashakadagdhum satata eva nivavrate naitadashakam vignatum yadetat yakshamiti. So when he was thus challenged, one side he is claiming that he can burn the entire earth, the other side the challenge was so insulting. He puts a blade of grass and he says, burn it. Tadupapreyaya, he rushed in. What do you mean? Sarvajavena, with all his strength. He must have tried it n number of times. Whatever he did, tad na shashaka dagdhum. Shashaka, he was not possible for him. He could not even move that blade of grass. And probably after having tried, he even touched it and said, is it blade of grass? Or is some kind of a magical thing kept there? And that I'm imagining or something. He even touched it because of blade of grass. Again tried. Nothing happened. Satata eva nivavrate. So he looked at that Yaksha and then put his head down and turned. Dum dabake. Because he claimed something which he was challenged and he failed. Utterly, miserably failed. Satata eva nivavrate. He came back. And then cut a sorry figure in front of all the devas. I'm sorry. I could not find out who that Yaksha is. He doesn't tell the other part of the story, okay? Face saver. He just says, I could not find out who that Yaksha is. Na etad shakam, ashakam, vignatum yatetad yakshamiti. I could not really find out who this Yaksha is. So they all turned to the next best. And who was the next best? Lord Vayu. So they looked at him and said, Atha Vayum Abruvan Vayave tat Vijanihi kimetat Yakshamiti Tatheti. So they all turned to Vayu and says, I don't know what happened to Agni today. Vayu, and it must have been Indra who had called for him. So Vayu says, yes sir. You find out who this Yaksha is. And he said, yes sir, Tatheti. I would definitely find out. And the same thing with Vayu. He also ran towards Vayu. So he said in the next mantra, Tadabhyadravata Tam Abhyavadata Kositi Vayurva Ahamasmiti Matarishva Va Ahamasmiti. Tam Abhyadravata, he ran. But as soon as he reached in front of that Yaksha, the Yaksha said, Tu kaun hai? Ek aaya, ek gaya. Ab tu kaun hai? Who are you? And he said, you don't know me? Are you serious? Me you don't know? I am Vayu. I am also known as Matarishva, the one who moves in this space. And he didn't seem like being impressed with the name and the attributes that the name could carry. So he looked at that Matarishva, Vayu, and Yaksha said, Kim stvai, Tasmin tvai kim viryam Ityapidam Sarvamadadiya Yadidam Prathivyamiti. So he said, you may be Vayu. What is it that you do? What are you good at? When somebody says that way, really put you down. So what do you mean what I can do? I can blow the entire world away. To be specific, the earth, I can blow it away. The earth is something that is like a krida vastu. Agni says he can burn the whole thing away. Vayu says he can blow the whole thing away. So this time our Yaksha, he spared the effort from bending down because that blade of grass was still there. And he must have done the same thing. You talk of earth, try. And this Matarishva was like, oh, this one? Serious? You want me to blow this one? I can blow that entire thing away. He said, okay. So, yahan pe dikhao. If I try here. So he said, Tasmai trinam nidadhau etadadatsva iti tadupapreyaya sarvajavena tanna shashakat adatum satata eva nivavrute na etadashakam Vijñātum yadetadyakshamiti. So tasmai trunam nidadau. He showed that blade of grass. blow that first. So this Vayu pretty insulted. How dare you challenge Vayu? I'm Vayu. And he, with all his strength, tried to blow that blade of grass. It did not even move a millimeter. Usually the way it is, it did not even move an inch. Inch is too far. It did not even move a millimeter. So he felt pretty, shut down or shot down, either way. So he turned around. Satata eva nivavrute. And he also did not come and tell what was the test or what was the treatment. He came back saying, I also could not find who that yaksha is. Seriously, I cannot find out. So they all now turned towards their leader. Who is their boss? Indra. So they turned towards Indra. Atha Indram abruvan Maghavan ye tadvijanihi Kime tadyakshamiti Tatheti Tadabhyadravata Tasmat tirodadhe Atha sarva devataha Indram abruvan. All these gods turned around towards Indra and they spoke to Indra. Maghavan, O Indra, now we all could not find out. Now it is your turn. You are the only one that we can think can find out what it is. So please find out for us who this yaksha is. Kim etad yakshamiti. So Indra said, sure, I will. And he ran towards this yaksha. Now what did that yaksha do? As Indra came closer, he turned around and vanished. He did not even give time for Indra for an interview. He must have looked at him and said, and he left. Now Indra was all like stunned. Now who could this be? Such a beautiful party we were having, celebration. And this fellow comes and we were all having our own time here. We were all gathered. Now the Agni went, then Vayu went. Now he at least spoke to them. When I come, he did not even give me an opportunity to speak. He ran away or vanished. Turned his back to me. So he was stunned and like he just was witnessing everything as to what next. So as he was thinking what next, so something spectacular happened. Something amazing happened. What was that amazing thing? Satasmin eva akashe striyama jagama bahushobhamana umam haivavatim tam hovacha Kime tadyakshamiti. And as Indra was there stunned, in that very spot, in that very space, tasmin eva akashe, in that very space, in that very spot, striyam ajagama, a divine lady appeared. And who was this divine lady? Umam haimavatim bahushobhamanam. A very beautiful looking, bahushobhamanam, amazing looking Uma Haimavati. Haimavati, daughter of Himavan, Parvati Devi. And you know why she is called Uma? Because when she was doing intense tapas for Lord Shiva, her parents, especially mother, did not like her interest in Shiva. You know, every parent has that idea. Son-in-law should be, well educated, from the Ivy Leagues, working in a top-notch, and has a great background, front, foreground. We have our own, and for all the criteria that Parvati's mother was having, Lord Shiva was a misfit in all accounts. Where does he live? Smashana. What does he wear? No abhushana, snakes and skulls. And only that or something else also. Sometimes he wears tiger skin. Unkempt, dirty, matted hair. And for cleaning he puts on bhasma all over his body, and that is the extent of his cleanliness. Always surrounded by these weirdos called the Rudra Ganas. One has one head, one has one leg, one has 4 legs, one has the legs of the tiger and the stomach of elephant and the head of something else. Each one was a weird guy, the Rudra Ganas. Such a Shiva you want to marry? So, a typical mother household. So, whenever she would start off her tapas, her mother would say, when we get angry, when we Ma. Ma means don't. Now she had been referred to Ma so many times that she was nicknamed as Uma. Uma Parvati Haimavati. So she appeared. And when she appeared, Indra rightfully asked, who was that Yaksha? So now let us analyze this story. A very simple story, but a very beautiful impact. The Devas won the war, came back, settled down, had a celebration. Yaksha appeared at their threshold. First Agni went, then Vayu went, both returned. Then Indra went, he vanished. Then came Uma Haimavati. And to her, this Indra asked, who was that Yaksha? If I were there in Uma's position, I would say, do I look like a search engine? You saw him, I didn't even see him, how would I know? See, whatever was explained in the earlier chapters, first 2 chapters, this story is a symbolic representation of that first 2 chapters. Through the Agni, all the organs of perception and action were represented. With the organs of perception and action, when we try finding that supreme, it's a futile effort. We are having the strength of each one of these organs of perception action because of the presence of that supreme within. These organs of perception action do not have the capacity to find that divine within. they are useless. Organs of perception and action, the way they are made, constructed, in Mundaka Upanishad it comes, Paranchikhani Vyaturna Swayambhuhu Paran Pashyati Na Antaratman. Swayambhuhu, Swayambhuhu, that Brahmaji, when he created this universe, he created each individual, and each individual's organs of perception and action were created in such a way that Paran Pashyati Na Antaratman. They are made by default setting to see outside, interact outside. They are not made to look within. So, with those organs of perception and action whose default setting is to interact outside, trying to find that which is inside is impossible. It is not just difficult, it is just impossible, pure impossibility. All that we can do is conserve our energies that are depleted through these organs of perception and action, come to a focal point such a way that we can reach higher. But as long as we are indulging with our organs of perception and action into the world outside, it is an impossible task to find God or divine outside. With this, it should be very clear, I guess. When people say that, science and spirituality, or they go hand in hand. Vivekananda answered it beautifully. Spirituality starts where the realm of science ends. It was then, now science has also improved. However, science might have improved. I will give it to you any day. Science is improving. No questions about it. But it is trying to investigate into the means which do not have the capacity to see the divine. You remember the story that all speakers from this platform talk about. Somebody lost a key, and she was very fervently looking for it under that street lamp. So I went to search, there were many other mission devotees. They also said, Swamiji, don't chalo hum bhi dhoondte. So one of the wise men who was searching along, they said, let's find out what is he searching for. So when somebody asked me what I am searching for, then I turn around, because I thought if they are searching for something, it would be something obvious, you could very easily find out. I didn't ask. So then I was asked, then I turned to that lady, I said, Amma, what did you lose? I said, a key. So again, this 15-20 people, key. Everybody went around searching for key, and they turned the entire place upside down. And one of that same wise man, he said, do you remember where you lost it? I said, yeah. This lady very clear, yes, I know where I lost it. I said, where? Back at my home. Including me, all the 20 were like, duh. Oh, what's wrong with you? If you have lost it at your home, why are you searching it here? Where should you be searching it? There. No, it was dark there, there was no light. Here there is light, therefore I am searching. Just because there is light with the organs of perception and action, for the organs of perception action, their individual fields of material seems illumining. For the eyes, the forms are illumining. For the ears, sounds are illumining. For the tongue, the tastes are illumining. It's not just illumining, but it's also inviting. So just because it is inviting and illumined, we keep searching for that divine in these limited expressions. Would we ever get it? Each one of us is searching for the same thing with different intensities, different modes of operations. Would we ever get it? If our search is for that true happiness, if, because there is nothing that the scripture would want to force on. If at all our search is for happiness, and if our search is through the organs of perception and action, where we are searching, the search itself is in a wrong place. We cannot find. The bridge between the gross organs of perception action and the subtle world of Antakarana is called the prana. It is subtle, but it is not subtle enough, because we can feel it, we can see it, we can control it. Even with that control of breath, at the most that we can reach is tuned to something called samashti, totality. With lot of pranayama, it can elevate us to an extent of connecting us to samashti, totality. And there are various shades of connecting to totality that you can feel for, all those who are hungry there, and you want to do something to that samashti of that need. It is not as selfish as the organs of perception action, subtler than that. But even that can take us only so far. Whatever the vyashti, the individuality has, pluses and minuses, samashti also has its pluses and minuses. The totality also has the same. Not these walls, but the walls back in India when they are built with brick. Each brick has to be well baked before you can use it. If there are, say, 50% baked bricks and 50% unbaked bricks, what will be the texture of that wall? And should have been a government building then. Wherever you can cut costs, that is where you can cut maximum costs. Soon to collapse any moment. So I am told that those who construct such buildings don't go for inauguration. पता नहीं टूट गया तो. The texture of the wall is as good or as bad as each individual brick. And Guruji puts it beautifully. He says, you are as strong as your weakest link. And the totality is nothing but all individuals put together, their pluses and minuses put together. If I were to talk to those 4th, 5th graders and say, cross on your heart and tell me, are you totally good or totally bad? Which is heavier? So similarly, if I end up asking, which side weighs heavy? Don't need to answer, just think. Now all of such put together in totality, what would it be? So, whatever problem, set of problems that we have at the individual level, the totality will reflect it. Though it takes you subtler level than the gross things that the organs of perception action take you to, but the prana can take you a little subtler higher, which is the totality level, and that it becomes its own shackle. Now Indra, who is Indra? The Buddhi. Buddhi is the one which keeps control of all our internal and external organs, the intellect. So that Buddhi went there to see who that Yaksha is. But did he find that Yaksha? The Yaksha vanished. When Buddhi tries to investigate within, but he did not give up. Buddhi did not return back, Indra did not return back saying, too bad. The moment I went, he ran away. I think he was afraid. But he was sincere, that Buddhi was sincere. In that moment, he started thinking as to who this Yaksha could be. When that sincere query starts in, scripture in front of us shall appear. This is called Shastra Kripa, Shruti Kripa. That divine would appear in front of us as Shastra in the form of Uma Haimavati to Indra. To every sharp, sincere, subtle intellect, Shastra will come to the rescue through a Guru. See, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa did not go in search of Guru. When Vivekananda happened to cross his path with Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he said, "You are my Sishya, come." When the Sishya is ready, Guru will come. But what is the preparation that the Sishya should have, or the Sishya's intellect should have? Sincere, sharp, subtle intellect. It has to have that sincerity to investigate. See, most of us, when we investigate, we do a half-hearted job. And what that cannot be called investigation. We already have some set of preconceived notions, and in order to prove our preconceived notions as right, we go around investigating as to how we can justify that standpoint as right. That cannot be called investigation. When you come across a situation, don't try to make either a plus or a minus remark on that situation or that experience in your mind. Whatever is that you are going through, go to its root. Try to understand its basis. Based out of that understanding, then try to come to that experience trying to know whether it was good or bad, required or not required. That would mean a true investigation. Without having gone deep enough, you already create an opinion and then try to investigate. We have already killed the investigation before it could even start. We blind ourselves with our own preconceived notions. That kills the sincerity in a seeker. A seeker should always keep his mind open. Open for all sorts of possibilities that are there out. There are n number of possibilities. Let me not judge, become judgmental before even I investigate as to what could be the probable result. Let me give my complete 100% and then come to that root level, find what it is then deduct what should be the goal. That sincerity Indra carried, that sincerity the intellect should carry. And it is not a tall claim the day we have that sincere mindset. Scriptures will reveal their true identity within. The mantras will reveal its meaning automatically, provided we have that sincerity inside. The moment we have such kind of sincerity, and when we get the opportunity to inquire, what should be the mode of inquiry? The inquiry should be a zeal to know the truth, rather than being in love with our own misconceptions. I have told this in many other platforms too. When people start their question with this attitude, Swamiji, I have asked this question to many people, Try answering. Earlier I used to take headlong with them, and now I have understood, futile effort. Because they are in love with their question. They are not prepared, they are not ready for an answer. Hundreds of them that they have spoken to, and they have not, their curiosity is not even kindled with an answer. So when such people say, you also give a try, I said, no, I don't know that field. What field? Field of being in love with a question. How should a sincere question be? We saw right in this beginning of Kenopanishad. I see how a mind works, I see how the organs of perception and action work. I see various such situations wherein the organs of perception, action and the mind and the internal organs can function, cannot function. But both their functionality or lack of functionality, there is something which is illumining it. I am not able to decipher as to what it is. What is it that commands, what is it that powers every aspect of my existence? The choicest of the words that the seeker has asked shows the amount of sincerity and research that the student himself has done, that there is clarity within the question. There is no ambiguity as to what he is trying to ask. Once there was this lady who was asking a question to Gurudev, and she kept telling various aspects, various stories, and so after 2-3 minutes of listening to her, I thought you were going to ask a question. And then he looked around everybody and said, Bolo Sarvatra Govinda Nama Sankirtanam. Because what she is doing is Harikatha. Stop your stories, come to the point. If we have that sincerity. So with that sincerity, when we sit, we should have the openness and willingness. Willingness for what? To shred all sorts of our preconceived notions. In fact, if we go with the standard of Upanishad, shred all concepts. Because I, the consciousness, is not a concept. I am, hence therefore I can create concepts. But I am not something which is a part of the intellect which can be conceptualized. And that day when in enquiry, in purest form of enquiry, The enquirer freezes. I am not talking of a dead mind or a frozen state of mind. I am talking of a moment of glory wherein the intellect has reached a restful stage, peaceful stage, that there are no more itchy questions. It has paused. In that moment of silence, serenity, scriptures reveal the true nature. And what is that revelation of true nature? That comes in the next chapter. We will see it tomorrow. 15 minutes here. Still 15 minutes. We will cover it tomorrow. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shant Shant Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.